Hey guys, welcome to our first video experience. We are so grateful. Thank you for joining us. We're just gonna jump in right now, and the topic for today is what my last or past relationships have taught us. We came up with, well, we didn't actually come up with the topic. One of our viewers, so shout out to you guys who continue to follow and listen to us. One of our viewers actually sent this to us, so we encourage that people continue to share topics with us. But yeah, we're gonna reiterate. The topic is what my last or past relationship has taught me.
Okay, so we got some really interesting answers when we posted this on our Q&A section on Instagram. So we're just gonna go ahead and read them to you, and we're just gonna give you our feedback.
And we hope to have enough time and the opportunity to also share what our past relationships have taught us as well throughout this experience.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get started.
All right. So the first person wrote, not to ignore warning sign. For example, this dude was wasting my time. And I thought this was interesting because I think we always are given warning signs, but we kind of choose to ignore it because we want to see the best in people. And not to say you shouldn't see the best in people, but when you're ignoring something that continuously happens, you're not also giving yourself the chance to actually accept the person for who they are, and then take the opportunity to decide whether this is going to be something a person, not something, whether this should be a person you should stay with, or this should be a person you should just kind of let go and just move on.
Yeah, and I also think red flags are important. Like if you see a pattern that you're just, I think the rule of thumb should be, if you don't think you can deal with a red flag consistently for the rest of your life, that should be enough red flag for you to probably call it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Do you want to read one of yours?
Okay, so someone said, always hold your boundaries regardless.
What do you think about this one? Boundaries.
So I think boundaries, I don't know, actually. Hold your boundaries. I definitely think there should be boundaries in relationships. I'm just not sure where the boundaries should be.
Yeah, a part of me feels like if you have boundaries, you're also not allowing yourself to fully experience the relationship per se. At least that's what I think, because if you set so many boundaries, it's you're not gonna actually even get to know the person as much as you would like to. So it's I don't know. I think the idea of setting boundaries, I think there's a difference between setting boundaries so you are safe and you are comfortable, and setting boundaries that limits you from getting to fully get to know the person. And I think that's what we should differentiate. What are you setting to keep yourself safe emotionally, physically, mentally, all of that? That's great, but don't set so many boundaries that it begins to hinder the relationship that you're potentially having.
So kind of like safeguards. You want to put up enough safeguards, but not to the point where you're not allowing yourself to be loved or even to love.
Yeah, I agree with that. So in this, I think you should be mindful of what you're defining. I think something we've learned throughout this experience is defining things for yourself, because we could sit here and say we set boundaries, we set safeguards, but how you define that in that moment is what truly matters versus what we're saying or what the general public defines a boundary to be or a safeguard to be.
Agree.
This is getting better. So somebody wrote, don't date to change a person, take them for who they are.
Amen.
I think that is so real. There's this thing called the superhero syndrome. So I'm gonna say something that I didn't discuss with my husband, but I used to call him Captain Save-A-Ho, which I think all falls in the superhero syndrome, where I think we have this mentality that we are able to help everyone,
right?
When in reality, in the process, at least is what I believe, in the process of you trying to help someone, you also begin to take on their burden. Definitely. You also begin to take on some of what they are pushing out. If you push something out, it has to go somewhere. So I think when you date with the idea of like you're gonna try to change someone, you're not even dating the person for who they are. I think you're dating them, at least in my opinion, for who you want them to be. Like it's like you're trying to mold the person to be what you define as what's good for you. And you know, it works for some people, but I don't know. I don't feel too good about that one.
I agree with what you said. Like if you're trying to change somebody, then it's like just find the person that fit the qualities you want to begin with. Don't try to mold somebody else, because at the end of the day, people are just gonna revert back to who they were. Like I think there's this saying that I actually really like. It says if somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Like you see they like, nah, they're gonna change. No, if they've shown you this once, twice, maybe even 3 times, like that's who the person is. It's either you take them or leave it.
That's very true. That's very true.
And there's gonna be somebody that would come and take the person as is and will be content. So if that's not your cup of tea, it goes back to the red flags. Just cut it out.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to do the next one?
Okay. The next one says, stay away from men that don't love their mothers.
This is so real. This is so real. You should go ahead first.
I'm trying to think. I agree, because my husband, he loves his mother. Like, they're like besties. Like, I don't even try to come between that ever, because
I don't think you can.
No, I couldn't. even if I wanted to. But they're like super, super cool, and he really loves his mother, and the same love that he shows his mother is what I've seen that he shows to me. So I could imagine that somebody that doesn't have, you know, a relationship with your mother, or doesn't know how to treat women. So it might be brought into that relationship, and you might not like how you get treated.
Yeah, I think there's a saying that I heard growing up where they say a girl's first love is her father. I think it's reciprocal for men, where at least I think a male's first love is their mother, because the mother is their sole provider. The mother's the person that gave birth to them. So if you see, and even that, like, if you don't have a good relationship with your mother as a male, I overall question you as a person, because it's just a simple fact that this is the person that gave you life.
Definitely.
Right? So if you're not able to treat that person well, I question how you're going to treat me. Like, if the person that gives you life you don't love, you don't respect, who am I? Like, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole compared to others. And I've seen like how my husband is with his mom. Like, they're super jovial. They both get along really well. I'm the total opposite. But I also realized that their relationship allows me to have a good relationship with my mother-in-law. So I just think, like, if as a male, if you're not able to love the person who created you, the person who brought you into this world, then I question your overall, not capacity, but I just question your overall being.
True.
Because it's hard to not love your mom, regardless of how difficult they can be.
And they could be really difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
but you gotta love them.
Yeah.
You love them. But if, like, in the case of like an absent mother or something, like, I think it also shows like how you treat other women around you also reflects. So to men out there who, you know, don't have their mothers around, it shows in how you treat the woman around you.
Yeah. And this is also vice versa for females. Like, how you treat, and I think for females is a bit different, because we are such beings where we're able to relate to both males and females. So I think we are a species, as people say, that we are able to love regardless. But if you also, as for our male listeners, like, if you also see, at least I think, a female who's not able to love, one, they probably have had some past trauma, so we shouldn't like judge them on that. But two, I think you should take the time to evaluate what has caused that inability to love. I don't know. That's probably a whole nother topic there.
Probably.
That's a whole nother topic.
We can dive deep into that one.
This next one was very interesting. It came from one of our male listeners. So shout out to our male listeners and viewers. Like, we definitely appreciate your opinions and inputs. One of them said, always have a side chick. And I thought this was very interesting because it's like you have a backup plan for your backup plan. And I think that's interesting. What do you think?
So I'm trying to be in the mind of that viewer, that male viewer, and sometimes like, especially if you get your heart broken a few times, you wanna you don't want to misstep. So you know that saying, "Don't carry all your eggs in one basket."
That's so true.
I think that somebody with such a mindset, or who would like comment something like that, has been through heartbreak, so they just try to play it safe. But not that it's the right thing to do. That's not.
I think if you're in a serious relationship, you shouldn't have your eggs in any other basket.
No.
It should definitely just be in that one relationship basket. But I think that's the Steve Harvey book, Think Like a Man, something like that. It's called Think Like a Man, I think.
It is.
There's a chapter in the book where he actually encourages women to, let me not quote that because I'm not too sure, but I've heard, because I haven't read the book, so let me make sure I state that. I've heard that there's a chapter in the book where they state that you should date multiple people at once, and not date to sleep around. There's a difference.
Okay.
And Wendy Williams does this a lot too, where she said you should date. There's a difference between dating someone and sleeping with someone.
Right.
And she always differentiates that, where she says you should date as many people as you like until you find who you want to give your all to. And I think that's also different than saying you're dating someone and being secretive and not sharing. Because if I'm dating my husband, when my husband and I were dating, and if I had like another boyfriend on the side, or if I was dating someone and he wasn't aware of it, I think that's what's wrong. But if you have fully communicated to the person you're with that I'm seeing multiple people at once, I actually think it's okay.
To like open dating?
Yeah, I not to say I've done it, but I think it's okay. I think what always hurts people is the fact that it's been kept in the dark.
So there gotta be some kind of mutual understanding.
Yeah,
like you know, I'm openly dating, and I know you're openly dating.
Yeah, like I said, it's as long as like it's been shared, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because you kind of have. This is not what I do, but I've heard people say it, which this day and age, like I'm not surprised that people say it, where they say you have to kiss many frogs until you find your prince.
Yeah, definitely.
Not my thing, because I'm a super germaphobe, but there's some people that's their thing. And I always think if you're open with the person, it's actually not bad to have a side chick. I don't think you should be calling anyone a side anything, because you should be openly honest about it. So just calling them a side chick, a side piece, is also, in my opinion, not appropriate. But these are just our opinions.
Yes, again,
these are just our opinions. We are not experts in anything we're saying. We're just sharing our life experiences. So yeah,
this is good. Okay, next one. So someone said, my past relationship taught me to choose my battles wisely and be present in every moment.
I still choose my battles wisely.
I'm still choosing it wisely. Till this day. Till this minute.
Right before we got on there. I think that's just life though.
Nah, it is. It's part of the relationship, right? So what I actually wanted to focus on was the second portion of this. And I usually tell my husband this a lot, that we have to be present, because we're always kind of caught up in the past, but caught up in the future, more so now, caught up in what we want to achieve. All like, we're young, so we're very ambitious, we have like these plans, and we're always tackling it, we're always like thinking ahead. But then what happens a lot is that we miss out on the now. Like, we're so caught up, we're like ahead of ourselves, and we don't take the time to kind of enjoy the present that's gonna lead us to the future.
She said it best. I can't even say anything else to that. I definitely agree. We get too caught up in what's happening.
But it's easy to do too, because you're thinking, I want to secure the future. I want to like make sure everything is good in the future. So like, let me work hard now. But like, what about now?
What about now? Being present.
Present. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one other person says, preserve my self-value. Action speaks way louder than words. And they gave us the fist because we agreed. Actions definitely speak louder than words. The one part that definitely resonated with me that I'm gonna try to lead into what my past relationship taught me is the idea of preserving your self-value. I will use myself as an example where I realized I needed to love myself more before I can expect anyone to love me. Not to say that, and I use my husband, I mainly dated him my whole life, but there were so many things that I realized now that I'm even older, and when I did counseling, when I did those Christian counsel sessions, I realized that there's so many things that I was seeking from him that I couldn't get from him because he's not me. Someone can't give you what you need until you know what you need and you provide it for yourself, but more so, you are your first provider. You are your first gift to yourself. So if you're unable to love yourself, how can someone else love you? And that sounds so messed up, but it's the truth. If you can't love yourself for who you are, acknowledge that you have some faults and things to grow up, you hearing it from someone else is gonna bring you down. I think that's where I was, where Gifty, you need to do this about yourself, you need to do this. I refuse to acknowledge that. So obviously when someone is speaking it to me, I'm just like, why are you talking to me? Why are you saying these things to me? When in reality, they were true.
Right.
And it goes back to the whole idea of that. I learned that from dating my husband, where the love I was seeking, he couldn't give me because it's the only love that I could give myself. And I think that's where the whole idea of it's good, right? I know. That's where I think one thing that resonates with what this person says, preserve yourself. Definitely know who you are, because if you let someone, if you're in a relationship and someone tells you who you are, I think you're gonna be taking, that person's gonna have too much control over you.
Yeah, and God forbid that person is no longer there to love you the way that you want to be loved. Then what? You're back to the drawing board because you never even gave yourself that kind of love. Yeah. It's good. It's really good.
Do you want to share yours, what your past relationship has taught you?
Okay, my past relationship, I think that what I learned in my past relationship is to never go into a relationship hurt. Because when you go into a relationship with carrying so much past hurt and bitterness and anger, and just it doesn't do you good, and it definitely doesn't do the next person good. So it's just kind of check in yourself, make sure you're completely healed before you move into the next relationship, and it'll be a better start for both of you. So if you're at a place where maybe you feel, or maybe I should use myself, where I felt like I was bitter and I was just angry and I was spiteful and I was very that revenge, or I gotta get my revenge this, revenge that, just you just gotta look good so the other person know that you're living your best life. If you find yourself in that space, it's no longer about that person anymore, it's about you. You're hurting yourself because you're carrying all this bitterness, this hate, and if you take that to your next relationship, it won't do you any good. You're gonna find yourself always backtracking into all this negative energy, and I just don't think that's a good space. So that's what I learned from my past relationship.
So that is actually going to be it for our first video experience.
Yes.
These experiences continue to go by faster than I think.
I know, and then we're always out of time.
But we hope to continue to do a bit more of these video experiences to just share with you, one, what you've shared with us and how we resonate with that. But also, I think I said this at the beginning, where we want you guys to continue to bring us topics.
Definitely.
So we can also discuss those. Because I think there are many of us who are experiencing these things, and we are a family.
Yes.
Our
and
sisters
and brothers.
Yeah. What did we call them yesterday? They laughed.
Grippers. Oh, yes. We're actually also looking for a name to call ourselves, our family.
Yeah. We probably need to stick with family for now.
Family works.
But last night we both said grippers, and the look that we got was just no,
I remember.
don't do it. So as we continue these video experiences, we definitely want you guys to continue to share what you like for us to discuss. We definitely appreciate your time.
Yes.
And thank you for listening to
Sis,
Get a Grip.